You're listening to an Awkward Human podcast on the 5x5 network. If you want to find out more about this show and all the other cool stuff that we do, visit awkwardhuman.com. Hello and welcome to the Awkward Human Survival Guide. This week we're talking about
stupid in-laws,
the sex lottery,
and bullying your coworkers.
Hello and welcome to the show. I am Adam Dotches.
I'm Erica Allison.
I'm Richard Cardin.
So rude. It's gonna say welcome to this beautiful Sunday with Richard Caldera.
It's cold,
but it's beautiful.
Yeah,
it can be cold and beautiful sometimes, Richard.
But it's cold.
And we're also here with Juliet Bennett Rylah, who's here for the first time. Welcome.
Thank you.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I live in Los Angeles with all of you, and I am a freelance journalist. So I write for a bunch of different outlets about all sorts of things.
What are some of the things?
Sometimes very procedural city stuff, but
like
also,
taxes?
Yeah, or, you know...
Just like taxes all the time.
This neighborhood,
the taxes.
Yeah.
like what neighborhood councils are up to, where they're going to put trees, things like that. But also food, art, culture, immersive theater, virtual reality, all sorts of stuff.
Okay.
And so you actually know, we met you through Tommy, who co-hosts Supercharged with me. And I'm assuming you guys have something in common in regards to escape rooms and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, he had asked me, so I had been writing about escape rooms a lot when they first started popping up in LA. And then he had asked me if I wanted to talk with him about escape rooms since he is building one. And it turns out his escape room is a block away from my house.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, it's very easy when you're like, oh, everything sucks, I need a break. Let's just go get a coffee because we are right there. So that's how we know each other.
Oh, so I'm assuming you've done the most recent one.
I haven't yet. I'm doing it next month.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, I'm really excited to check it out.
Cool. Well, so I think, I guess we have a couple orders of business before we get to the awkward situation. Our 200th episode's coming up soon.
And you all owe us $200.
We do? They do? Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah.
I mean, they still owe my charity $500 because no one has bought me yet.
You're not desirable.
Because right now I'm on a New Year's diet, so I can't eat the biscuits.
You're too available is the problem.
I'm not. I can't go eat the biscuits in January because it's not healthy. So
what?
Once February starts, I will be available to go to Red Lobster again.
Are you doing like a no bad foods in January thing? Because you're starting the new year off, right?
No, because I need to get rid of my holiday weight. It's almost gone. It's coming off. But you know when you're like, oh, this doesn't feel right.
Every day, yes.
Everybody,
maybe you need to go on a New Year's diet, Richard.
No, thank you.
I'm gonna help you. If everyone wants to help Erica become more desirable, if they have some suggestions, the number's on the screen. You know to call 509-AWKWARD.
Don't call unless you want to buy me.
Or visit awkward.email. Well, no, you can write us in with a question, write us in with a purchase offer, and
it's not negotiable.
if there's something,
I already threw the dinner in with the $500.
If the Erica offering isn't sufficient, and you need her to become more desirable, please send in suggestions. You can send them. You can just go straight to emailing questions@awkwardhuman.com. We'd love it if you left a voicemail telling Erica in your own voice and your own words how to make herself more desirable.
If you need someone more desirable than me, then I think you just need to go out with someone else. Someone who's not worth buying.
Don't undersell yourself.
Did we decide?
I'm overselling myself.
Did we decide if they're able to do like a group deal?
This is not an orgy situation.
Like, no, we should get a Groupon.
But like,
Groupon.
No, I don't mean Groupon. I mean like 3 people can go in and split the cost, and they all have dinner with you.
But then they have to pay for their own dinner. I'm not including the cost of 4 people's dinner. My charity needs the money, Richard.
Okay. Yeah, this is for charity, everybody.
This is not for Red Lobster. I don't endorse Red Lobster. I just like their biscuits.
They aren't a sponsor, but we will take them as one.
Sure. Yeah.
So we can move on to the Exorcism.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Just one more thing. We have a 200th episode coming up soon. You may have noticed this is 196. I had to check that just now because I forgot again. But we'll be doing something special for the 200th episode. I think it's a surprise. Is it a surprise?
It should be a surprise.
Okay. Cause we're not going to tell you, but it's interesting.
AKA, we don't know.
No, I know. I think it'll be more interesting if it's a surprise on the day.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So that's coming up in hopefully about a month. And it's time to talk about, I guess, our awkward situation here, which is, Juliet, you went to an exorcism.
I did.
Why?
So a friend of mine messaged me and said, do you want to go to an exorcism on Friday at the Pasadena Hilton? And I said, sure, why not? So I took the train up to Pasadena and I found this very boring, blasé conference room where the exorcism was happening. And it turned out it's this guy, Bob Larson, who I guess is kind of famous for being very involved in satanic panic and telling people that rock music is evil.
He sounds like somebody.
Yeah, he's been doing exorcisms for something like 30 years. So I go in and I sit down and I sit in the back with my friends. And, you know, my friends and I are in all black pretty much. So I think it's pretty obvious that we are not. I just feel like we stand out. I feel like it's clear we're not there to be exorcised.
Yeah.
You're comfortable with Satan.
But this guy really looks like he's serious. It's Bob Larson, the real exorcist. Get free from your demons.
Yes, that's the guy. That is the guy.
Larson Exorcist on Twitter.
So I personally am an atheist, so I don't believe in demons to be exorcised. But I was very interested in it. I grew up in a Christian household and knew many people who believed that you could be possessed by demons. So, but I had never been to an exorcism before, so definitely wanted to see what it was all about. And it was bizarre. It was bizarre in that it was pretty benign. There were just a lot of people there, maybe 30, 40 people, and some of them thought they might have a demon. Mm-hmm. And it's weird because it seemed like these demons did not manifest in the way that they do in the movies where your head spins around backwards and you...
If only.
It was just kind of like any bad things in your life could be attributed to demons.
Nice, okay.
And there were...
When you don't want to take responsibility for them? Or...
Right. And
so that's the goal here, is to not have to do anything about it.
Yeah, and it seems like there were a lot of ways you could get demons, including, I learned, you can be cursed from generations beyond. So he would, like, if a person came up and said, I think maybe I have a demon or a demon is following me or something, he would say, oh, what is your heritage? And then whatever country you were from, he'd go way back and have you rebuke your ancestors. Oh. And one guy, he had him renounce his Incan ancestry.
Oh, no.
And, like, denounce blood sacrifices, virgin sacrifices, just, I mean, going really far back.
That's a lot to apologize for. What happens if he gets, like, a white person?
Well, he did have a Russian woman who asked to be exorcised, and he told it was a lot of very nebulous sort of going really far back, and I guess she had, as a child, played with tarot cards, which I suppose is a way
been there.
You can invite the demons in by...
Hey, I have a demon.
Oh, maybe.
Darren's the demon master then.
Yeah.
I was a little disappointed that there were no snakes, no lights flying, no lights going off, no papers flying around the room.
No show?
He would kind of come up and say, you know, he would have the person verbally say they renounce the demon. Whether that's I played with tarot cards, or I used to drink a lot, or my Incan ancestor sacrificed a goat one time, whatever it was that he decided or could possibly be a factor. And then he would take, it seemed like it was a Bible, and he would put it up to their face and say, I now separate you, the spirit, from the person. Mm-hmm. And then he would kind of encourage the person to fall back and allow the demon to confront him. And there are various spirits that we encountered. One was Jezebel. One was apparently a jaguar. One was Quetzalcoatl.
Oh, that's exciting. I think I know who that one belonged to.
Very well-known demons. Okay.
Yeah, and then he would be like...
But he's the real exorcist, so he can get access to that shit.
And then he had this big cross that looked like a Buffy the Vampire Slayer prop. And
yeah, that's on his website.
Put it on your head and say, Satan, I rebuke you. And then he had to get the demon to reveal their name, whatever their name was. One of the demons was just Rage. The other one, I don't think we got a name out of. and then he would hold the cross on them and say, Satan, I torment you. I torment you with these various religious artifacts. And he was slapping people with Bibles in the back. And one woman broke down crying. One guy who I think it was determined didn't have a demon, but maybe he was just, I don't know what his deal was. But he was making a lot of guttural noises like the whole time. Another guy, so Bob had some of his, I guess, enforcers, other exorcists that he works with come and hold people still. Which, for the one woman who was crying, they held her as she, kind of collapsed to the floor. But the other guy was trying to, break away from them. So he had to get really big, strong men to hold this man while he wrenched away from them. And that was weird, because that man had a teenage daughter that they sent into another room. And when she came back, she looked really confused.
Oh.
I can imagine. It'd be a little confusing.
Yeah, so that was the exorcism process, and it was weird the things that they wanted to be exorcised for. One woman had a son who was addicted to drugs, and basically...
And she thought she had the demon.
Yeah, that it had cursed her from playing with tarot cards as a child. And the other guy, I guess, his father and his grandfather before him had each committed a murder, and he was worried that he had some sort of murder demon that... maybe had skipped him, but was going to infest his children. So it was pretty bizarre. All of the things that could, that he said could bring you a demon, which seemed like pretty much everything. And then he was going on saying, there are more demons in this room, I can feel it. But the thing about Los Angeles is that people become comfortable with their demons and they like them and they don't realize that they have them.
Do you feel like any of the people who were being exorcised were faking it?
I thought the first guy who said he was being followed by demons was faking it. And during his exorcism, when he had the cross against his throat, he was making these noises the whole time. And I thought that was going to be... because eventually Bob was like, okay, sit down, we'll come back to you. And I was like, oh, that's the finale. And then he never happened. He never went back around to that. So I think maybe that guy was just sort of... I don't know.
Okay.
I think 2 or 3 of the people who went up there genuinely believed this.
It, yeah.
Because one of the ladies, she had said she had gone to a tarot reader, she had gone and done Santeria, and I was just like, oh, you just keep going from thing to thing to thing to try to find an answer. But it was clear to me also that really the whole seminar was about him making money. He's written 37 books.
37?
Yep, and he really was peddling those books, buy these books, you need these books. This one will help you here. This one will help you here. I'll sign him in the back.
And he's only been in business for 30 years.
You got the Bible, now get this.
Yeah, and there were all these books, and then you could also sign up to take his online exorcism course.
Oh, good.
For $500, and you too can become an exorcist. And some of the questions, someone would say hey, how do I manage this demon situation? He'd be like, oh, that is in lesson 4 of my...
Oh, nice.
Oh, I see. Well, so he knows what he's doing. Does anyone go up saying, I think I have a demon, and then he's like, no, you don't have a demon, you're cool?
He did seem skeptical of some people.
Yeah, that's good. That's good for the con, I think.
Yeah. Because one of the first questions was, how do you determine whether someone is mentally ill or someone has a demon that is making them behave in this way? And he said, well, I check their history. I see if they've ever been to a psychiatrist or have any sort of mental illness in their family or if they're on any sort of medication. He's been doing this for a long time, a really long time. So I feel like he's kind of got his shtick down on how he...
Yeah, it seems like his... he manages it through, the difference between demon and a psychological illness is whether or not there's a potential lawsuit based on the history, which is...
Yeah, and his exorcisms...
a good way of framing that, I guess, if you're trying to scam people.
His exorcisms are also very gentle. He's slapping with the Bible, but that's, that's about it. There's no being tied down. There's no being force-fed anything. There's no snakes. There's no... It's pretty tame. And he can also exorcise you over Skype, I learned.
Oh!
And then sometimes...
How does that work over the internet?
I don't know.
The eyes. You see the demon in them.
And you can watch the exorcisms on YouTube. Goodness. They were definitely filming one of them when I was there.
Oh, that's good. We'll put that in the video version. We'll put some clips of that.
When you went, was this a paid event? Did you have to pay to get it? And you just go in and you just watch?
Yeah, I just walked in.
Wow.
I sat down.
Wow.
He kind of came around and asked everybody how they heard about that, how they heard about it. And I think you could tell the 6 of us in the back were maybe not believers.
Yeah, you went for the show. Yeah.
But it was fascinating.
So does he make his money primarily off the books then, since he doesn't charge for tickets?
Well, I think he probably makes his money off selling the books and selling the classes and getting people to donate to him. He was very pushy about, I mean, not like coming up in your face, but kept stressing that he needed to raise $30,000, I think that was the number, to go to Poland where they were going to translate a bunch of his books with some other religious leader over there. And they needed the money to do this. And if you bought the crucifix or I guess it's a cross, if you bought the cross for $100, he would bless it and anoint it for you, and that would go towards
$100.
That. So
that's so nice of him.
But I also think he does one-on-one exorcism, so I think he will meet with you if you pay him more. I think when you just go to a seminar and you say, hey, I think I have a demon, it's kind of a big, long sales pitch. It's kind of like Amway. We're like, here's my sales pitch for all of this, and here's your, free coffee or whatever to sit and listen to my sales pitch. But once you have sort of bought onto that and you're buying the books, then maybe you want the one-on-one session, and then maybe you need the cross, and then maybe you need...
Gotta accessorize.
Yeah.
Yeah, so is there like a post-demon exorcism process that he has for people? Like, once the demon's out, it's good? Like, do you need to do certain things?
He kept saying that people needed deliverance, and I didn't know what that meant.
No.
And I forgot to look it up. But
I haven't even seen the movie, so...
Same, yeah.
I don't know, maybe we can find that really quickly. What is deliverance?
It's going to bring up the movie.
The action of being rescued or set free. Isn't that what he's doing?
Yeah, maybe it's maintenance.
The maintenance, yeah.
What is deliverance from the Paula White Ministries? It's the supernatural transference of God's people from a place of oppression to a place of freedom. It can happen to a person individually, but so I think it's like really just finding God again. Now that you've got the demon out, you gotta do Jesus's work or whatever.
Maybe it's easier I've seen a lot of horror movies that indicate it's easier for a demon to come back in if it's already been in. So
it knows its way.
Maybe you need some routine demon maintenance.
Yeah,
so
like the dentist.
Money. Yeah.
Okay. So
I always thought that demons possessing people was more of a Catholic thing than it was a Christian thing. Do demons know no boundaries when it comes to religion?
Why are you asking me?
Quetzalcoatl is like totally not a Christian.
Okay.
Is he actually a demon?
Right. No.
Yeah. Wow. They're really just playing on
all
the.
This jaguar, where'd that come from?
That at least there could be some jaguars are nice, some are not. At least they're not stereotyping.
No. Okay.
He talked about pulling something called a grot out of someone.
A grot?
Apparently, he'd never heard of it before. And this was, I think he said it was during a Skype exorcism, where he said, "What's your name, demon?" And the demon said, "I'm a grot," or something similar to that, or a grok maybe. And then he had to Google it, and then it turned out to be some... I mean, he's exercising across the board.
Okay.
And he's using all his resources. The internet seems to be very helpful for exorcisms in ways I would not have imagined.
Yeah, like he says, Satan, I see you, I'm not afraid of you, Satan. He says that a lot. But the demons seem to be a lot of different things and entities from a lot of different cultures.
I wonder if he's ever had that. So Super Mario Odyssey... that was based on a yokai, I guess, or Japanese demon for people who, I think everyone who listens to this probably is nerdy enough to know that, but I guess like this demon that possessed people's stuff, mostly hats. And so they based the whole game around that, but apparently it was like really creepy. The actual thing is really creepy because you would get possessed and it would control your behavior through your hat or whatever. And so I wonder if that will be, maybe you can get in with the kids now that Mario Odyssey has sold so well.
That could work.
I feel like he probably doesn't even know about it.
Maybe we should contact him.
Okay.
I feel like at a certain point you have to expand. Like you've exorcised all the people who believe in Satan. Now it's like, ooh, I gotta find more demons, find more segments of the population.
He could go on a whole tour with Japan, though. I mean, like, I just feel like there's a lot of opportunity here he hasn't explored because he's probably...
that he had been to a bunch of other countries, and that in other countries, because at some point he said, "How many people here in the room think you may have a demon?" And about 10 people raised their hand. And he said, well, if we were in Russia right now or the Ukraine, it would be everyone in this room because they know about old spirits. And then he went into the whole thing about people in LA liking their demons and preferring to live with them.
Yep.
But it sounded like he has been to several countries. He's just kind of made a living out of hitting people with Bibles and just screaming at demons.
I kind of like that, actually.
Yeah, you got to do something in life. Find your calling, I guess. You make it work. It's just fascinating to me that people, like, belief is so interesting. And I think, you probably have thought about this a little bit too, since you're dealing with VR sometimes. But with all the new technologies kind of reshaping the way we have to think about things and how our minds work, and also discovering that stuff medically and through science, it's kind of fascinating to be like, what is reality really? Because we can kind of pretend it's a lot of things, it seems, and it's as real as what actually is. It's kind of a bizarre thing to think about, but I guess in this day and age with the government, we can say there's a lot of reality that's not very clear. But anyway, that was fascinating. Thank you for sharing that one. I don't think we've ever had an awkward story that was quite so, I don't know.
We encourage all the listeners who have been possessed by a demon to write in and tell us about your experience.
Yeah, I guess the awkward part of it for me was I didn't want to be found out. But I was sitting with people who I felt like were very obviously not there to get exorcised.
I mean, I think it's awkward, period. That's got to be awkward no matter what. If you think you have a demon, you think you might have a demon, you're going there because you're trying to understand people who may have demons. That is, or I should say, think they have demons. I think I don't like to be definitive about a lot of things, but I'm pretty comfortable saying that if you think you have a demon, you probably might want to go to a psychiatrist instead, or something, or rethink the way things are going. But yeah, we haven't had anyone write in yet here about demons.
No demons, okay.
As Richard said, if you are worried about exorcism, need an exorcism or something, 509 awkward is the number to text or call, or go to awkward.email for other questions. With that said, I think we can get into our questions for the day, because we have a few of them to get through. And who's up first? I'm up first. Okay. Reginald Farquaad asks, which I'm guessing is a Shrek reference. Am I getting that right?
I don't know.
Good day to you. I think this is a maintenance question here. I began listening to your podcast a little over a year ago when I found it on Spotify. At that time, you had well over 100 episodes listed. I've been listening on and off while I drive to and from work. Ugh, I'm a bad reader. When I started listening, I started with your latest. That was their fault. Episode. I started with the latest episode at the time. On finishing it, I decided to start at episode 1. I got past the big episode 100. And had an issue where the episodes would start about halfway in, and cycling it back to the start while driving was not safe. So I skipped through, this is kind of a little hard to understand, skipped through the episodes, zeroing them off to the start, but when I get to 112, it loops back to episode 1. Today I got onto episode 103, which wasn't, and this is why I wanted to read it on here, Richard, wasn't the Awkward Human Survival Guide. It wasn't introduced, but I'm pretty sure one of the hosts was Richard, and there were 2 other women, one of whom was joining by Skype or on the phone, and they were talking about Oscars.
Ooh.
So it sounds
Blast from the past.
Yeah, so I think I know what happened there.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if...
I overwrote one of your files.
Oh, is that what it was?
I overwrote one of your files, but we fixed that, I thought.
Oh, well, apparently I uploaded the wrong one.
That podcast no longer exists. Sorry, listener.
Yeah, Richard was... That was
if you fell in love with that episode.
Too bad.
But you have a new podcast. Well, we'll save this for the answering portion. There's a little bit more. But he also recalls Richard had started discussing pop culture topics. 104 is a valid Awkward Human Survival Guide episode, though. So, however, it seems odd that all the other episodes are gone. Should this need to be in the form of an awkward? Should this need to be in a form of an awkward situation question?
No.
That's just there's a period after that. Okay. Oh. Given the above facts, how would you suggest I raise this point with the podcast in question? Isn't that what you're doing? Kind regards.
I think he wants to know if he should submit it to the awkward questions portion, or if there's like a maintenance place that he should.
He wanted to write to like the podcast people and be like, "Hey, there's a problem. Do I need to resubmit this as an awkward situation?"
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, no, you have submitted it, and I guess it sounds like we figured this out, but one of the episodes was overwritten when Richard exported, because sometimes the file naming gets messed up. That's less of a problem now that we're doing the video, and I don't think that happened again, but I'm going to go back and look and see if we can get the actual episode up, because that wasn't supposed to happen.
But you liked the episode, right? I mean...
Well, it doesn't matter now.
It doesn't matter now.
But so you have a new show. Why don't you talk about that?
I have a new show. It's called Interview with a Nerd. It's been going on for like half a year now, where I just talk to people, creators of like nerdy things, comic books. They have their own podcast where they talk about, movies or video games or whatever. And I talk to them, creators and whoever I can get on. Yes.
Just like if anyone wants to get on. And
not if anyone. I used to do interviews with fans of comic books, and I'd have them go through an entire history of just one character in comics.
Well, you do it sometimes still, don't you?
I still do that, yes. I haven't done it lately, but I want to start doing that again. But I'm trying to integrate all my interests into this one podcast where I mostly want to talk to people who are making things, because that fascinates me.
But it's all geek related stuff.
It's usually geek related stuff. I had an interview with Lauren Shippen, who is one of Forbes 30 under 30. And she has an audio drama podcast called The Bright Sessions, and I interviewed her, and that was a fun interview. That was like 3 or 4 episodes ago or something. But yeah, so it's people like that, like who are creating things, making things, that I like talking to. So I have them on the show.
So if you loved Richard's episode, then
if you enjoyed that episode, it's not that, but but there's more of me.
All right, cool. So that's true. That was not an awkward question, but that you submitted it to the right place. So if you get to this episode, Reginald Farquaad, or whoever you are, now you know. Probably too late, but we'll see. I did send I tried contacting. Usually, I get people write back to me. At least one person writes back to me, but I sent a message to everybody this week, and I was on top of it, and no one wrote back. So you guys got
the next question?
People who aren't buying me.
What?
Probably the same people who aren't buying
me.
You're
too expensive.
Yeah. Sammy.
And too available.
I'm not that available. I'm not available till February. Sammy, 24-year-old straight female, asks, "Hey there, awkward coworkers. It's Sammy. I'm a straight girl and turned 24 last Tuesday. I got a boyfriend for a year and 4 months already. He isn't Mr. Sexy, but I'm not Ms. Sexy either. But we chose to try and be Mr. and Miss Sexy together by trying stuff. That means doing anal or sex in a barn. He and me don't have anything we want to do unless he's embarrassed and is keeping secrets. Oh no, but I doubt it. We have good communication. We decided to make it a surprise, so what I did was cut up some papers with sex stuff on them and folded them and put them in a hat. Then in another hat I put pictures of other stuff that might get used for sex, such as a dildo or chocolate sauce. Then in another hat I put random pictures for themes or whatever. Yes, I have a lot of hats, I know. I work in a theater costume department, and I keep the throwaway costume items to renew and sell online because they get thrown out otherwise. I also keep some for cosplay. We did a production of Cabaret last season with a director and costume designer who were all about Tim Burton and very picky, so there were all these big, silly velvet hats, and I got to keep all the mistake hats. I guess if you want to use your imagination, it's like we're pulling sex ideas out of Willy Wonka's head. But anyways, we got role-playing from the first hat, butt plug from the second hat, and I got the moon, and he got the Bahamas from the third hat. He's got to get the Bahamas figured out on his own because that's his character, and we decided we'd pick out the butt plug for the other person as a fun surprise. I thought I would get your guys' opinions on how to roleplay the moon. I got some ideas, but I would want to know what you think. What's good roleplay for the moon? I don't have to be the moon, by the way. I can be from the moon or part of the moon. It's just to be related to the moon, and I think going for the butt is too obvious.
No, assless chaps. Just like all black and assless chaps.
First of all, I want pictures of this cabaret performance. Second, I guess, go for it. Moon people. Juliet, you got any ideas?
Maybe they could play around with the idea of weightlessness or a different gravitational situation.
Like slings?
Oh yeah, that makes more sense. I was thinking like the bathtub, but slings would be more acrobat. Well, if they work at a theater, that could work.
Oh, they could maybe put themselves on those harnesses.
Yeah, maybe they have some
try to,
stuff.
Float.
Yeah.
Yeah, she didn't say he worked at the theater too.
But you have to also wear like an astronaut's helmet.
What is that character though? Like what is a sexy moon person?
Neil Armstrong.
Oh, Captain
Really?
Kirk.
Naked?
Is that the moon
Kirk?
person you want to
He was
fuck?
always hooking up with people from different.
Yeah.
Picard even got busy a couple times.
Or
But I don't think did they go to the moon?
Who's there's Apollo and what's his sister's name? The gods,
Lady
Apollo's
Apollo?
of the sun, because Apollo's of the sun, and then his sister is like of the moon or something, isn't he? It's not Artemis. Maybe it's Artemis.
Oh, maybe that sounds like.
But she's of the hunt. Maybe no, that's someone else. No, that is Artemis. Anyway,
Artemis
be
is a
Artemis.
hunter.
I don't know if she has anything to do with the moon, but
Well, that's actually an interesting idea. So Greek moon god. Let's see,
Maybe
moon
she's
goddess.
a werewolf.
oh,
Selene. So Selene and Artemis were also associated with Hecate. Is it Hecate or
I don't know.
I never knew how to pronounce this. Hecate. Does anyone know?
Hecate.
Hecate. Okay.
I think.
Yeah, I feel like that was a Spanish choice or something. This is my only frame of reference. And anyway, Hecate, and all three were regarded as lunar goddesses, although only Selene was regarded as the personification of the moon itself. Her Roman equivalent is Luna. So.
Okay, so you guys can be gods. You can be the god of the moon, the goddess of the moon, and then he can be like some kind of island god or something.
That's
Maui. There you go.
Who's the god of the beach?
I don't know.
So my first thought when
know.
I read this was in Mozart's The Magic Flute, the Queen of the Night. For some reason, I thought that would be because like she's Queen of the Night, you know. And what is
theater thing?
What is nighttime? The moon, right? And a lot of times when I've seen like her outfit, because he like had these like really cool, like kind of like whimsical costumes for everyone. There's a bunch of like stars and moons on it, and it's like she's really dark but also kind of shimmery. And so you could just be the Queen of the Night, and then you would also have a soundtrack for your role playing, and it would be very dramatic and perhaps intriguing while playing with butt plugs.
Yeah, you get one of those star generator things too. The space lights. What the hell are those
like
called?
a projector thing?
Yeah, the ones that project like the stars onto the ceiling. They're like $15 from China. Because
the ones that are like in a lamp and they circle around.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you go on that app Geek by Wish, then
but then you gotta wait like 3 months for it to arrive.
That's true. They're probably, but you can find a knockoff on Amazon probably. So that I would give that a shot. And maybe you could really get the production value of this role play up for the first time.
Listen, I think we really helped your sex life here.
I mean, this sounds pretty fun.
Yeah.
Like, who else wants to try this game?
Yeah,
not me. I'm not into that, but
well, I mean, it sounds like there's some other things in those hats that maybe we don't want to get into.
Well, maybe, but I mean, I like the third hat a lot because it's like, oh, who are you going to be today? The Bahamas? You know, like that's so random. It's not just like, sex dice where it's like touch my feet or like smell my ear or like kiss my tummy. It's like, I would love to like put on a production and be like, I'm going to make a costume and do all this shit. I'd probably forget about the sex part eventually and just get into the whole like performance of it.
So then you're just LARPing?
No, I mean, it would be more of a show, like a sexy show.
Okay.
Than like about the act.
Okay.
But still, I like this.
So Sammy.
Okay.
Sammy. If you got this in a spreadsheet somewhere, by any chance, I could put it in Airtable. We'll make a sex generator for you. So send it over if you're hearing this or get my email. Back.
I have a question though. Is she coming up with all of them? Because she said she put all this stuff in hats, because that's kind of cheating, because then she knows all the possibilities, but he doesn't.
Oh, I don't know.
Maybe she's the dom in the relationation. You don't know.
I would think they probably.
I don't think
did
she's
together.
anything unless it's in a hat.
Oh,
it sounds
you're
like
right. You're right.
They well, I don't know.
She said we're not into anything weird, but we want to do sexy things, so we're doing the hats. So
incorporating hats in your sex.
Yes.
So therefore they're not into anything weird yet. I think
exactly.
is the point.
So it's not. I don't think it was like they had a dom sub-relationship.
I wonder if we can like send them anonymous submissions.
Yeah, I think that would spice up their sex life because her knowing all of it is just not. It's not that surprising.
Yeah, we could put it if we get the spreadsheet. We could make a form and people could submit ideas to the spreadsheet, and then anyone could contribute to their sex life. That would be a really interesting.
I feel like some people would submit shit that they wouldn't want to pick out of the hat, though.
Well, you could always just toss it.
Yeah, you have the right to veto.
Yeah, there could be some rules about like if this is illegal.
Someone's definitely gonna suggest shitting.
Yeah,
it's gonna happen.
Well, she works with a bunch of props. She might already have a shitting table.
Oh God,
is that a Dieter joke?
No,
it's a table.
It's a table that has a glass surface, and then people climb on top of it and they shit, and the other person's underneath.
Okay,
I learned that from Drawn Together. It's a very old cartoon.
Yes. You didn't learn it from personal interest. You wanted to know that.
No, I don't incorporate shit into my sex acts.
Nope.
It's not for me.
That's a line I'm okay with.
If you like shitting, that's all you.
Yeah.
Well, I think most people like shitting into a toilet.
Well, I mean,
for
shitting
the bowel relief.
Like it.
Shitting to
Here's the bathroom we promised.
Yeah.
If you hate shitting, then you're probably very constipated, and that's not pleasant.
Correct. I think we've all been there.
All right, next.
All right.
Good luck, Sammy.
Yeah. All right.
Doesn't sound like she needs luck.
This is a nice simple one from Anam, which I would think it's short for anonymous, except it's ANAM, so maybe it's
Anam?
Anam? Yeah, I don't know. It's very brief. Bullied by coworker in diff ways, diff days. I think that means on diff days. Advice?
Well, maybe if you learned how to write a full sentence, you would have no reason to be bullied.
Oh,
yes,
Erica,
victim shaming.
You can't say a full, like, that's a short thing to write. You can't say full words for that. You can't just say, I've been bullied by a coworker.
He's already being bullied by a coworker. Now he has to take it from you.
Maybe he was
My advice is to be better at grammar. It's my advice.
I think that it would help a lot to know what the situation was more, which Anam I asked, but you have not responded to me.
Yeah, so maybe being more responsive would also help with the bullying, communicating.
There you go again.
Supplying information.
Well, let's talk about all our bullying experiences.
Oh.
I don't think I've ever been bullied by a coworker.
Yeah, I don't think I have either. But
well, if you all saw one of my Facebook posts recently.
Probably not.
I had a bully in high school in 9th grade that once wrote on a piece of paper before I got into class, it said, Richard is a fag, and he taped it to the blackboard, and no one took it down the whole class.
I remember you said like that you didn't take it down because you didn't want.
Well, I didn't want to take it down because I felt like if I took it down, then one, it would confirm that I'm a fag, but also like it's embarrassing.
I read that and I was like,
Richard and or fag in the class though.
Probably.
Well, anyone can be a fag in high school.
Yeah.
I read that and I was like, if I was an adult dealing with this situation and I was in your shoes, I would go up there and be like, guys, I wouldn't want Richard to see this, and I would pull it down away.
But like, even the teacher didn't take it down, which is sad.
That's rude.
I don't know if he noticed it, but he was kind of weird. He liked staring at the girl's tits.
Oh.
Yeah.
He's probably like, I don't want them to think I'm the fag.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I like underage boobs.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's a fun school you went to. But who wants to be in the spotlight next? Juliet, have you been bullied before? Erica?
I mean, I think most people have. I mean, I write articles online, so yeah, every day.
Oh yeah,
that's true. Yeah,
telling me how I deserve to die. So.
That's nice. Wow. So I guess I didn't think about the female journalism thing, but the ones that I've worked with, the women that I've worked with, at the blogging level, not necessarily always at the journalism level, they would get like, it would escalate from I love you to I want to kill you because you didn't respond to me for 2 weeks on an address that you don't check. Mm-hmm. They of course didn't know that part, but those sorts of things, you don't get that as a guy writing online for sure. So do they send you like snail mail though if you're in a print publication, or is it just online? They find you online?
No, I've never gotten any sort of physical mail.
How do you respond to them, or do you just ignore it?
I typically ignore them. I mean, I would say most of what I get is just pretty petty. I do write some hard news and serious stuff, but lately I haven't been doing that much serious stuff. So, it's just kind of like, here's a new restaurant, here's a play you can go see. Sometimes I am forced to write those listicles, and I would say listicles are actually the worst, because sometimes someone will say like, hey, can you do this roundup of 10 pizza places? And it's not work I really want to do, but it's for an outlet that I like working for, so I agree to do it so I can do stuff that I want to do later. And there's nothing you can do in those situations. So you pick your 10 places that you like and you write them out. And even if you say like, hey, these are just our favorites, please put your favorites in the comments below. Let's have a nice, equitable discussion about how much we all like this food. No, it's like, you pedestrian asshole. You did not pick my favorite place. You should be fired. You don't deserve this job. You're a shitty writer. I can tell you're not even from here. And I mean, sometimes, and it's like, okay, I get it. You like this other pizza place in Pomona. That's great.
Yeah, you like Mamas and Papas. Okay, great.
Yeah, sometimes
I will kill myself over that. Thank you for letting me know.
Yeah. Sometimes I get personal emails, and in my mind, I fantasize about a day when I will one day, confront them, which I will never do. But there's this one guy who, his like user avatar was like him in like this goofy fishing hat, and I have a lot of vision problems. Like I can't even drive a car anymore. So I'm glasses when I'm at home, and I'm contacts when I'm out, but I'm maxed out on my contact prescription. So it's actually pretty hard for me if I have contacts in to even see what I'm doing on my computer. So sometimes I will screw up words, like an autocorrect will happen, and I just, like words like illustrated or illusion, they're just all a bunch of lines to me. So it's very easy for me to screw those things up, where acronyms are really easy for me to screw up. And then sometimes an editor doesn't catch it. And you would think a rational person who's reading something online can use their context clues and figure out what it's supposed to say. And if they feel like correcting it, which I never do, but if that's like a burning desire, they would just say, hey, this is supposed to be this. But no, that is not what happens.
No, it's never what happens.
This one guy in the fishing hat was like, you got this acronym backwards. I don't understand how you have this job. The English language deserves more respect than you are clearly capable of giving it. I don't understand how old you are. I don't understand how you got this job. And it just like went on and on and on and on. And I just wonder, what would your friends think if I found you and I posted this email and just let them know that when you're Facebooking about how progressive you are and how into the Me Too movement you are and how you donate, like this is how you actually treat people though. Like you become so incensed over an acronym where two of the letters got shuffled around that you would send someone an email like this. And I know like Lindy West, I guess, famously confronted somebody who trolled her online. And he said, I'm a sad little human and this is how I live my life. And I guess that's what I try to take to heart, is like, there is something inside of you that makes you treat people like this. Because I have had coworkers who are mean and they're snide and they're passive aggressive. And I just assume there is something in you that makes you behave this way.
Yeah. I mean, like, it was always weird for me when I didn't get that kind of hate directed at me, I guess, that often. People were more polite about it, or at least less verbose about it. It was always kind of like, you made a typo, check your fucking work. They would be efficient about it, but I was writing for Lifehacker in this situation, so it was about efficiency. They were at least thoughtful in that regard.
Yeah, okay.
But I'd have people bully over like the weirdest things, because I would write stuff that totally seemed to be something that I would get hate mail over, and I wouldn't get anything. And the comments would be pretty tame and sometimes very positive. And then I would write about like how to get out of your AT&T contract if AT&T is screwing you over. Not for any reason, if they're screwing you over and you need to get out of it. Because I was always careful with that. I don't want to encourage bad behavior necessarily. Sometimes, I don't know, I don't want to tell anyone what their ethics are, but like, here, don't do it for shitty reasons, basically. I got so much hate mail out of that. Really long stuff about people just freaking out about saying, like, you're telling people to break their contracts, that you're putting out this bad shit into the world. And it's just so weird what people get angry about and what they decide to waste a lot of time telling you about. But a lot of it was personal. The worst one, though, was the one that bothered me. The only one that actually really bothered me was someone, I don't even remember exactly what they said. Oh, no, there were two. Someone redefined my name on Urban Dictionary, which is against the rules on Urban Dictionary, I found out. And I got that one removed because it kept coming up in the search results and it was bothering me.
What did they say your name was?
No, they said my name was Adam Dotches, but they gave a definition of he's a piece of shit or something. I don't remember exactly. So it was kind of I didn't enjoy seeing that when I was Googling myself, which I don't do for vanity so much as to see if anyone's writing something weird about me or stealing articles in a way that I usually let people steal everything. But if it's a way that actually is problematic in a broader, I don't know, it hasn't happened. So I think it's just my paranoia. But some, I found out about the ethics alarms guy, which I won't tell that story again because I tell it all the time. But if you Google my name and ethics alarms, enjoy if you don't know. But I find out about all this weird shit that people have said about me, and I enjoy it most of the time, but I didn't enjoy that one, so I asked to have it removed. Normally, I don't do that. But someone else had wrote an article about how you could give private feedback to people, and I had tested it out, and so someone found my account. I think it was probably in the screenshot or whatever, and sent me some private feedback about how terrible I am, and I'm pretentious and this horrible writer and stuff, and I don't know if I don't know how pretentious I sounded back then. I tried not to be, but it's just really interesting the way people treat each other online, and I guess this isn't really answering this person's question at all, but I haven't had a chance to talk about this with someone in a while, so it's interesting to hear what it's like from another perspective. I guess it's I guess in our cases, those were work bullying situations. Yeah,
they're just strangers.
Yeah, we just work with strangers. Everyone I worked with was wonderful, so that was good. But actually, Erica, you might have something.
Do I?
I don't know if you can talk about your current job and some instances that I wouldn't necessarily call bullying, but might be inappropriate. I don't think they've happened to you. I think they happened to a coworker.
Oh, that's not bullying.
Well, it was more like sexual harassment.
Yes.
So is that off the limits of discussion if we don't name any names?
I don't think it would really contribute to the conversation. I don't think there's anything helpful to gain for someone who's being bullied because it wasn't harassment because it wasn't shut down. So I would say it was more inappropriate behavior.
Yeah.
And bullying usually is clearly unwanted. You know what I mean? It's rare that someone's oh, maybe, someone who's a bully is oh, maybe they really enjoy the way I insult them. It's more I enjoy the way I insult them. Mm-hmm. And that's not the same as someone being oh, I'm going to treat this person the way I think people should be treated, but that's not the right way.
So let's take it from this perspective then. I think we reiterate this on the show a lot, and that is that HR is not a place that is on your side necessarily. They are there to resolve issues for the company. Sometimes, everyone, not everyone, because I think we don't believe this, but I think a lot of people believe that HR is there for you to help you if there's a problem, to negotiate how to best resolve it. And that is true as long as it doesn't harm the company, but sometimes they will not act in your best interest. So you kind of have to approach it a certain way. And I think if you're getting bullied, you want to be careful that you go in and are clear about how you're asking for help and that you have some evidence of what you're saying so that it doesn't backfire or anything. Not that you shouldn't be supported if you're getting bullied. It's just you don't want to be accused of lying about it if that's what your coworkers say. But it kind of depends on the position, if you even have an HR department or anything like that.
Right. This person might work at a Pizza Hut or an independently owned coffee shop where their bosses are the owner and his wife, or the owner and her sister. It's just, I need more information.
Yeah, that's really the problem, I think, because it's a situation where you definitely don't want, HR might be something, talking to a coworker or a boss or whatever might be an option. But then there's, the situation, if you don't have those resources, if you don't have human resources, then who do you talk to? And that's kind of where we need specifics, because maybe you bring someone along. Maybe you're 16 and you can bring a parent, which you probably don't want to do, but it's an option.
I think in those kind of situations, you have to put yourself in an uncomfortable place, because how do you stop a bully? You have to kind of confront it.
Yeah.
Or they could little finger them.
What does that mean?
It's a Game of Thrones reference, but I don't remember exactly what.
He's just a sneaky guy.
Oh, so we're just talking in general.
Conniving.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sneaky.
he's always conniving and scheming. Like, yeah, figure out what your bully wants. What's their motivation? If you don't have HR.
Yeah.
Sneak around, speak in a whisper all the time.
I guess I think that is a good... I mean, considering how vague this is, that's pretty on point, I think, to at least in terms of considering their motivations. The sneaking around part, maybe we'd want to know what's happening before we suggest that. But I think that's legit.
Like, okay, I had a boss who sometimes would just be really difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes, and I don't want to be too specific, but occasionally I could just tell they're having a bad day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, rewrite this sentence, and then I would rewrite it, and then it wasn't good enough, and like it wasn't clear what wasn't good enough about it, or it's just constant, okay. This isn't, and I would have to say, okay, this isn't anything that I'm doing. This is just my day to be like the brunt of this person's whatever. And some days it would be different coworkers. And I figured out that ultimately this person would feel bad about their behavior. So a good way to subvert it would just be to almost to just immediately be like, oh my gosh, you're right. I'm so just out of it today. I'm just so silly. You're so smart. Thank you so much for helping me. Oh, I feel so terrible. And then like it would flip the switch for this person. Because then instead of being like, I'm angry, you're who I'm taking out on, it would be like, oh, I'm being awful.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, it would always be the same. It would always be like, good job today, everybody. Good job today, everyone. Like, you guys did great. You can all go home early. But like, I realized it was useless to sort of push back because that would only drive the bad day emotions further.
Yeah.
But if you immediately like a dog roll over and expose your belly, all of a sudden it would be like, oh.
That's always my metaphor for it, is like make them kick you in the make them kick a puppy in the face. They won't do it.
Yeah, but that's only one kind of bully. Like if you've got a bully who is trying to get a rise out of you, like if this is a very juvenile situation, then rolling over and taking it isn't going to flip the switch for them and make them realize, oh, I'm being awful today. I need to stop. It's only going to increase. So I feel like you really have to figure out, why is this person targeting me?
What if they want their job too, and they're not going to stop because they want to make them sick of their workplace so that they leave, and then the bully gets that person's job?
This also sounds like a Game of Thrones situation.
I like that when if they're trying to get a rise out of you, because that one's so easy. There's so many ways to deal with that one. My favorite in those situations is just making people uncomfortable. I always think about Little Shop of Horrors a little bit, in how Bill Murray made Steve Martin uncomfortable at the dentist's office by, I would say, getting some sort of sexual gratification out of the torture of dental work. And so I feel like if you're enjoying it, very obviously being bullied by these people, they'll be like, that's not what I want to happen. That can backfire in the office, so be careful with that sort of thing. But there are a lot of ways you can react in a way that they don't want to deal with it, and I think that can work too. But I guess it still always goes back to we don't know what's happening with Anam, so hopefully that helps somebody. What's
Our
the
last question comes from Carolina, 30-year-old straight female, who says, so it's like this.
Carolina.
I got married to my boyfriend 8 months ago, and it's great. No problems with him, but I got problems with his family, the older brother in particular. Dude's kind of a dumbass. Didn't do anything with his life. He got workman's comp from repairing a bus, and it fell on his shoulder, so he doesn't gotta work. He makes money on online games now, or something like selling shit or some service thing on Second Life. It's weird, and I don't get it. He loves his bro, my husband, and they hang out, but he thinks my husband is his best friend. Let me tell you, he is not. He won't hurt his bro's feelings, though, and tell them. No problem. Besides, he's jealous of me and thinks I'm stealing his bro because he's a dumbass. They can bro out or whatever. I got my shit to do. He pranks me though. I got hot sauce in my coffee at breakfast last time. Before that, he put raisins in my bed while I was sleeping over for Thanksgiving, so I think it was bugs or something. Yeah, you guessed it. He still lives with his parents. Dumbass doesn't know I love raisins, so I got a healthy snack in the morning.
Ew.
Eat that shit, Ronnie. Whatevs. My husband is like, it's funny, let it go, but it's not those 2 times, but like way more. I'm like, talk to your bro, and he's like, that's gonna make it worse. It's like they let him do whatever he wants to do and no consequences. Not cool. So I'm out of ideas. You got any?
Yeah. If your husband doesn't want to talk to his brother, there's something wrong in that relationship. I think if you've complained about his brother who's always around, it sounds like, and he's doing these things to you that make you uncomfortable, and your husband doesn't, like, it sounds like he doesn't care because he's like, well, he gets away with it with my parents. It's like, no, but this is now a different set of circumstances. This is your wife that he's messing with, and you're allowing that to happen by not saying anything. And the consequence, if he were to continue doing stuff, is he cannot come over anymore. It's a simple thing, and your husband is not reacting in the way that I think he should.
Yeah, that does seem very straightforward, honestly. Just tell him to give his brother an ultimatum. I can understand him worrying about it being worse or having problems.
But then he can just not hang out with him. I mean, like, it's not like... She said that the brother thinks that he's his best friend, but the husband doesn't consider him his best friend. So it's like, if he says something, he's like, dude, you can't treat my wife that way. And the brother's like, oh, too bad, I'm going to do it anyways. He's like, okay, I won't hang out with you. Like, he's an adult. It's not like the husband lives with the parents as well. Like, he can just remove himself from the situation.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like you guys are even in the same city if you're staying overnight for things. Do people do that? Do they
yeah,
sleep over
some people
locally?
do. Like, Laura's parents live 30 minutes away, and she sleeps over during the holidays.
Oh, well, I guess that kind of makes some sense if you grew up in the house.
I think it's not like abnormal for it to happen if you're like going visiting friends and you drink and get drunk. They have an extra room. Hey, can I just crash the night or whatever? And,
but it's very likely that they live out of town, and when they visit, they like stay over for the whole time. Either way, it's like, just because the parents put up with it doesn't mean that the brother should be like, oh, well, I'm staying in their house now, so he's going to be a dick to my wife, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's it.
Do we have any other solution?
I don't know. Julia, what do you think about this whole thing?
Also, Littlefinger, the brother.
That's just the answer to everything.
Just prank him back.
Yeah, increasingly a terrible prank.
Just shave his eyebrows off when he's asleep.
No, I do think it's like a respect issue. Your brother needs to respect your wife. If you love your wife, you need to set these ground rules. It's not her job to control your brother, who sounds like a character in an Adam Sandler movie. Like, lay it down.
Yeah, nobody wants
People
that.
don't want to watch those anymore.
Raisins in the bed? Like, what is that going to do? Have someone go, oh no, there are raisins in my bed? You know,
like bugs, maybe?
They're just irritating. They're just
irritating. It's just
and
stupid.
Weird.
I've had ants in the bed before, and it's not like raisins at all. It's the hard part about ants in the bed is that you don't really notice it until you definitely notice it, and then that is not a fun moment.
Right.
So never made that mistake again. I learned. My parents didn't always instruct me on why things shouldn't be done. But I learned that not eating in the bed was one of the things that brings ants into it. And I woke up from a nap and was covered in ants. And that was a little shocking to me. I don't even remember how I got them all off. But yeah, that was...
A quick shower does the trick, I guess.
I don't think I showered, though. I think I ran out of the house or something, rolled around, maybe.
In the grass where there's
were they
ants.
still in your bed?
They were still I didn't go fucking get back in the bed.
How did you get them out of the bed?
I probably... vacuumed them or something. I honestly don't remember anymore. I had some weird problems as a kid. Like when I accidentally killed animals a lot because I didn't know how to take care of them.
Oh.
Not a murderer type thing. I tried. I was just bad at it. It was like a plant. It's like murdering a plant, but worse. Well, my parents got me ducks and they ate their own poop, and I didn't know they ate their own poop because I built them a house out of cardboard and they got out. And then the lizards, though, that was I don't remember. I think I didn't feed them properly or something. That was just really not a smart decision on my part.
Lizards can be hard.
Yeah, and then I hid their corpses in the back because I didn't know what to do. It was more of like I took the whole like little portable terrarium thing. After that, I just realized no more pets for me. I don't want to murder anything by accident. I'm clearly not capable of taking care of shit. So no plants, no animals. I had a Tamagotchi at one point. Guess what happened?
Yeah, everyone's died.
You can always restart it.
Yeah,
it's okay.
I did. I murdered a Furby on purpose.
Did you kill your nano baby? That's sadder.
Nano baby? I don't think I had a nano baby.
You didn't have nanos? Oh.
I don't remember.
Was that like a Tamagotchi?
No, it's not made by Tamagotchi. They had nano babies, which it was literally a baby inside the little game thing.
Oh, so this wasn't an animal. This was like supposed to be a human animal.
It's a human.
Okay.
It's a baby. It's like Gigapets, but a baby.
I see.
Yeah.
Juliet.
Yes.
Do you think that this is going to become a trend in VR someday?
That you have to care for.
That they're going to have like the Nintendogs and Tamagotchis and things.
Oh, maybe.
The first thing that popped in my head right now. For
like
some reason.
In school when they never did this in my school, but when they would make you take care of an egg or something.
Mm-hmm.
But now you're in VR and you have to. What a boring VR game.
Yeah, probably.
I could see it working really well. I could see the idea of virtual animals working really well in
like in the Vive or
like
something.
Children's museums or not children's museums, but children's hospitals or places where people can't necessarily get out and interact with.
Or even for like, you know, if there's like a mentally challenged person who really wants an animal, but you can't trust that person with an animal because how do they take care of it or something like that?
With the Microsoft HoloLens.
You put them in a VR, and then they have their virtual pet.
Oh no, I think mixed reality is the answer to that one because it's like
that too.
Well, it was just because at that point then they were jumping around in the real room and everything. I'm actually surprised that maybe it has happened because I haven't been covering that as closely, so I don't know if someone invented a digital dog.
I guess now you have to. It's trademarked. No one steal it.
Someone should do that though. That would actually probably go well. It wouldn't be that. I can't imagine that would be that hard. I mean, there are existing code bases for the logic. It's a dog. It's not that complicated.
Yeah, it's kind of. I mean, didn't Pokemon do that? Now you've got a little creature, but maybe it's more of a permanent creature.
Yeah, that would be something. They could do that on the phones. This is a $1 million business idea.
Better patent it.
So. It's for you guys. Go make it, and then send me 1% of your earnings as a thank you. But yeah, that's all we got for today. I guess before we go, Juliet, do you have any place that people can find what you're doing online if they want to go check it out?
Yeah, I'm pretty all over the place in terms of where I work. Because. It seems like every day a new billionaire buys a new media outlet and then destroys it. Or pivots to video. But you know, my Instagram, Twitter, whatever handle is just JB Rylah, RYLAH, and I post mostly just self-deprecating jokes, but I'll post articles that I'm working on and various other things. I feel like I'm one of those people who's always doing about 90 different things because I don't have a real job.
I know the feeling.
So yeah.
Well, cool. So we'll have that stuff in the show notes. You have a website too, right?
It's just my name, and I just put clips on it to try to. When someone's like, "Hey, are you a real writer? Send me clips." Sometimes I choose clips for them that I think are relevant, and then I'll just say more here. So that's pretty much all that is. Cool.
Well, we'll link to those things. They'll be in the show notes at 5by5.tv/awkward/196. That's the URL. But you guys know where to find that because if you're subscribing, it's, I think, in the show notes automatically on your phone or whatever. So thank you for listening. We will be back at you next week normally now that we've got these video issues kind of sorted out and it's working pretty well. And I guess send us a question right in and we'll see you then.
Bye.
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 Got a weird question, comment, or story for the Awkward Human Survival Guide? Send it in. Really seriously, send it in, and please send it in. We want it really bad. You can do that in all sorts of ways on awkward.email. Yes, that sounds weird, but you literally just type awkward.email into your web browser, and it's like a regular website. It pops up our fancy contact page, made lovingly by Connor Vickers, one of our favorite listeners and an awesome developer. If you're more of a phone person, you can just go ahead and call or text us at 509-AWKWARD. We love voicemails. We love hearing your questions in your own voice and your own words. It's beautiful. So do all of that. Send us stuff. We love hearing from you. Also, check out our website at awkwardhuman.com. Follow us on Twitter at awkwardhsg. That's HSG as in Human Survival Guide. And on Facebook at facebook.com/awkwardhumangroup. Before we go, a special thanks to Renee Weiss for the theme music for free, and whomever wrote this ending theme you're listening to right now. It was a royalty-free track we paid for, so they don't get any fucking credit. They got money instead. Anyway, that's all we got for you this week. Thanks again for listening. Please send in your questions, comments, and whatever stories you may have, and we'll talk to you next week.